Let's get started by talking about ethics in general. What is ethics? Why should we consider it? If you're like most people, you don't really spend much time thinking about the philosophy of it, but once in a while, it's a critical exercise that you need to go through in order to clarify your values and principles, especially with regard to the workplace. Ethics are the basic moral ground rules by which we live our lives. They're about right and wrong behavior, choosing right over wrong. So here's a good question. Where did you get your ethics? Was it nature, nurture, or both? I mean, we all have ethics. You can't be devoid of it. We all have a conscience and self awareness that helps us know right from wrong. Do you consider yourself to be ethical? How do you know? Is ethics situational or absolute? These are all very important questions that you need to sit down once in a while and contemplate. But let's move on to business ethics. What is that? And how is it any different from plain ordinary ethics? Well, business ethics refers to the standards and practices in a workplace setting. Business ethics includes societal standards of right and wrong, business ethical standards and circumstances, and finally, legal standards. You're right, it does sound more complicated than just thinking about a personal moral code. But really, it's just being aware of what's expected. Business ethics is often more rigid than in personal areas. For example, you may be flirtatious in your personal life, but at work, it would be considered harassment. At work, you can't decide which rules are worthy of being followed. You could show up late for personal appointments, but not for work commitments. You can't just borrow things at work. Any borrowing without permission is considered stealing. And of course, you can't just say whatever you feel like saying in the workplace. Everyone needs to understand ethics in the workplace is not subjective, but it is clearly defined by your employer. Next, let's consider what your ethical expectations are at work. In the workplace, you are expected to play by the rules, that is, abide by the law. Be knowledgeable of right and wrong, give your best effort for the company, work cooperatively and honestly with customers and co workers, look out for the company's interests and not your own, and show respect for people and property. This is what an ethical person does and what an employer expects from you. Let's try and summarize. Although at times it may be difficult, it is expected that considering ethics is an automatic response without prodding or training. For most of us, thinking about ethics as it applies to our personal and professional lives requires a change in perspective. Regardless of what your job is, at all times, behave in a professional manner. Be fair and unbiased. Show respect in your words and in your actions. Be professional. Actively listen to others. Get the facts straight all the time. Put your mind in gear before you open your mouth. Don't try to go it alone. Work as part of a team. Treating others with courtesy, respect, and trust. If you have ethical questions or concerns, you should feel comfortable going to someone else and asking for help. Maintain a professional mindset and develop your own ethical standards. Understanding your ethical expectations, then seeing how your perspective helps you meet them, is the starting point for ethical success at work.